So the number one question I keep getting on Coffee and MTG, Nikachu, when Modern Horizons 2 comes out, will the Fetchlands, their price, will they go down? And I'm like, yeah, they'll go down, but are they really going to go down by very much since, you know, they keep rising in price, since everyone keeps getting stimulus checks? And you know what? This price actually crashed down way more than I thought it would. Whoops, I got to share my screen. I got to share this with all of you. We've got I mean, you look at Scalding Tarn, Modern Horizons 2, you can get it for as low as $37.57 here. That is a bargain. Apparently near mint, $48.39. You can get a Scalding Tarn for $50. Oh, at Fusion Gaming Online as well. Fusion Gaming Online. But I guess they're going like hotcakes. Scalding Tarn is not surviving very well here. But it's gonna affect the other. It's gonna affect the other Fetchlands for sure. Let's look at Misty Rainforest. So we got Misty Rainforest here. I was just looking at some Zendikar stuff. Where are you from Modern Horizons? Where's the Modern Horizons one? This is the retro frame. Here we go. Modern Horizons. $42. $4 shipping. So that's what, $46. This is a far... I mean, we were looking at this card not too long ago, and it was something to the tune of like $65, $70. And also, if you look at the older cards, they are in that range. So you can get near mint around $56. And how many do we have? We have here for 42, 45, 48, 51. Still, this is a big drop. Big drop compared to what it used to be. So then if we go to, for example, Zendikar, because the prices have not adjusted on the other cards yet. Why would they? Oh, this is harder. It's very difficult to navigate. Where's the OG Zendikar one? Here we go. It lightly played starting at like $63. Lightly played, and then it gets moderately played at like $63, $65. Lightly played, moderately played. So you can get even cheaper. You can get even this is all in USD. This is all in USD. I'm on TCG Player. The American marketplace. Guys, they salted the mines with Fetchlands. My pre-release pool had 3, and it was like no big deal to open 1. Maybe they're not rare. Maybe they have like a secret rarity of like being more common than rare or something. What did Verdant Catacombs? Great question. Let's look up Verdant Catacombs. Let's go check the price of Verdant Catacombs. So I don't know what it used to be, but it looks like we're at $36. $4 shipping, so $40. Yeah, we're in sort of in the $40 range. Epo, thank you so much for the super chat. Even though I queue through the Valley of Death, the Valley of Death Shadow, I will fear no red deck wins. For the jank is with me. Your Tron lands comfort me. For I main deck Blood Moon. Very nice super chat. This is the most creative super chat I've ever received. Hilarious. Just watch the new Professor video that you featured. I have no idea what this is talking about. I guess I'll have to go check it out later. So anyway, anyone who wanted to get into the Fetchlands, the enemy Fetchlands, so this, I mean, we see a price drop here with Verdant Catacombs, and I'm sure not, and they're near mint, of course. They're near mint. Well, what is Arid Mesa? Arid Mesa for Modern Horizons. Whoa! $23. $4 shipping, so that's $27. 27 around the... I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to see these as cheap for a very, very long time. Or, like... I don't know what to say. Now's the time to get your Fetchlands. I didn't think they'd crash this hard. This is a pretty far fall. I mean, of course not everyone's going to be selling at these prices, but, I mean, this is where they are right now as it stands. You can get a near mint foil for 30, well, around $40-ish. Well, what is the last fetch line? We have Scalding Tar, Misty Rainforest, Verdant Catacombs, Arid Mesa. We're missing one. They certainly haven't bottomed out. So how long would you hold out for? I mean, they gotta shoot right back up at some point. They've got to shoot right back. I mean, maybe they don't. Has anyone seen the price of the cons fetch lands? I have not. Marsh Flats, that's right. Thank you very much, guys. Whoops, I looked up fetch. What am I doing? I looked up fetchlands and I spelled it wrong too. I spelled it wrong. Marsh Flats, we're sitting at around $32 near mint. From Fusion Gaming Online, of course. Fusion's selling for the cheapest. Or you could get even cheaper if you just buy on the Fusion Gaming Online site. Using coupon code Nikachu, of course. We have some at $33. This is, so it says 23 here, but it's actually as like a shipping of $13.99. So it seems like it's around 35-ish, 40-ish. No, 35 to 40. What is the prices on the old border? Probably some money. Let's look at this one. It's not that bad. It's the same value. So it's around still 37, that between 35 to 40. Oh, no, sorry. There's only one person. Dell Mail Games is selling that cheap. Everyone is selling for around 50 to 60. Okay, so they're the only ones. But hey, if you can, snap up what you want while it's still available. But hey, you don't be careful. Be careful waiting for the bottom. I remember when I was waiting for the bottom with Force of Negation, a lot of people were waiting for the bottom with me. Now, I needed to buy my Force of Negations. I needed my Force of Negations for a tournament. So I had to buy them earlier than I wanted to. But then they like shot up in price because everyone realized, oh, Wizards of the Coast stopped printing the product. And then this is all the product that we have left. All right, time to buy. But anyway, so I mean, I think if you're in the market for fetch lands, Merry Christmas. This would be the time to get them. Merry Christmas. All right, welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. Get your questions fired up and let's have a great discussion this morning. Also, we do Decklist review. So if you've got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, you want to show it off to the community, submit it to us, and both myself and the community would love to give that feedback. So brew up your cups of coffee. Let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for June. What's the date today? June 14th. 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's see what we have. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning, Leontaz. Epo James, the Iron Warlock. 6mm, Adam. Barbell Boa, Lucas, James, Stefano, Mikey J, Victor, Steve, Rodeo, Thomas, Perry, Matthew, Hot Cold Man. How can I be as cool as you, Nikachu? Do I need foil counter spells? That will help take you in the... That will be a step in the right direction. That is correct. Good morning, Fraser, Cole. Good morning, Vala. OGNF. OGWNF. Aaron, Rodeo. 2 high-price fetch lands dropping in price. Sounds good. That is exactly what it is. That's exactly what's happening. All right, so you know the drill. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the questions and comments I'm getting on YouTube and on Facebook pages. Let's start it off with Bobby Fletcher. What do you think about Mill from Sunday? Do they have a list out? I'll quickly look. I don't see the Sunday challenge results. At least not on... I don't see it on the page yet. So I don't know. I see Saturday's challenge was posted. The Saturday challenge. Was it from Saturday? No. Oh, there was a mill in the end though. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's not. We'll analyze it. So we got a Hedron Crab, Ruin Crab, Fractured Sanity. The new card. Yeah, we knew that this was going to be a good card in the mill deck. Fractured Sanity says each opponent mills 14 cards for three mana. That is pretty damn good. I mean that's amazing. Plus you can cycle it and you still get your opponent to mill cards. So, and by the way, when you cycle it, that's a lot harder to counter if your opponent's playing with counter spells. Archive Trap, Fork. Oh, they're utilizing the counter spells. They're a little bit, we see that Mill takes a bit of a control role, and they decide to adopt the counter spell. Crypt Incursion, Drown in the Lock, Fatal Push, 3 Surgical Extraction, 4 Visions of Beyond, Mesmeric Orb, and of course they've got the Lurrus card. It's not showing up. Lurrus of the Dream Den. That's okay. Ensnaring Bridge. Well, I'm not very happy to see that. That's a party pooper. That's a super party pooper. There's a second mill deck in the top 8. Okay, let's go check it out. Anyway, this is a pretty run-of-the-mill mill deck. Run-of-the-mill mill deck. Featuring... But it's now featuring Fractured Sanity as an upgrade and Counterspell as an upgrade. Good for them. Mill's been doing pretty good for into 2020. Oh, there is another mill deck. 2 mill decks. It's Mill's time to shine. Screw all those Asmarano decks. Oh, the Underworld Cookbook? Oh, don't mind if I do. I'll snap that thing up. This one's quite a bit different. It's playing with Snapcaster Mage, Glimpse the Unthinkable. It's more classic. So it's, yeah, I would say this is closer to a more classic version of Mill, but still very similar. Very similar. Very, very similar. Which means only one thing. Mill is well positioned. If 2 very different versions of Mill are succeeding in the same metagame, maybe the cards don't matter nearly as much as the deck itself matters. The Mill is well positioned. So, yeah, the first Mill deck is playing 4 of both Drown and Counterspell. That is correct. I sort of like the new one, but you know what? Now it's harder to tell if the new one is even better because it just looks like Mill is well positioned if there are 2 Mill decks in this top 8. But good for them. Congratulations to the Mill community. It's your time to shine. I mean, you look like a complete nonsense garbage deck for years. I mean, it's a pretty weak strategy outside of Limited. Now it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Who would have thought? It had the reputation of merfolk for a long time. It had the old reputation for merfolk. Ragavan versus Ignoble and Jund? Both probably needs to be tested. I would trust... I think they're both good. Like, Ignoble gives you the ramp, gives you a Tarmogoyf that beats another Tarmogoyf in combat. Ragavan is good value, though. It's good value. I would say, though, if you are the more clunkier Jund, like if you're the Bloodbraid Elf Jund, Liliana the Veil Jund, I think you should go with the Ignoble Hierarch. And then if Ragavan seems to be better positioned for Death Shadow. Morning, MTG Ectoplasm. James Giliberto. Nikachu, would you ever consider running Fetchlands to, quote, thin your deck for better draws in Modern Merfolk, or is 1 damage too costly? 1 damage is way too costly. This is a great question. This is a common question. A lot of people ask, is it worth it to thin your deck? A lot of people think that's what Fetchlands are for by default. It thins your deck. Everyone complains about getting mana flooded. Well, the solution must be to thin your deck with Fetchlands. The cost is way too high. Let me explain. So fetching a single land out of your deck reduces the chance of you drawing another land by less than 1%. It's basically insignificant. But here's the problem. If you're at a full 20 life, you lost 5% of your life total. 5% of your life total to reduce the odds of drawing a land by 1%. But that's only if you're at 20 life. What if you're at 10 life? Then if you fetch, you lost 10% of your life total to thin your deck by that just insignificant amount. And the lower your life total gets, the more massive, and the magnitude of this 1 damage gets larger and larger and larger. And you can feel it. You can feel it in the games. When you're up against Burn or Prowess, and you're like, I don't want to fetch. I need this land. I need to curve out. But now I'm so much closer to dying. You can feel it. So anyway, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Don't do it. Don't buy Fetchlands to thin your deck. I'm sure there's someone out there that did that. They just blew $800 on Fetchlands because they're going to thin their deck and you're not going to get flooded anymore. What do you think about Asmarano, Mardukast, and Nakuldakar? Totally. I don't know about totally fun card, but it's a card. It's a hell of a card, and it makes hell of a decks. I mean, it's bringing a lot of old decks back to life. Okay, hold on. A lot of people asking questions. What a great morning we're gonna have this morning. Sign of Draco plus Garth. I don't know. I don't know about the Garth card. Garth seems a bit clunky. Sign of Draco seems fine in the right deck. Christopher asks, Urza Saga, to buy or not to buy? Would I be foolish? It's tough. It's not a safe card. I'll just put it that way. It's not a safe card. Right now, it's playing out safe. You know, it's playing out like Faithless Looting did at one time. It's like, this is good value. It's a nice, cute card. The problem is Urza Saga has the absolute potential to be broken in like the 1 or 2 decks that it's going to get banned in. That's the problem. Right now, it's doing okay. All right. We've had basically 2 weekends of modern challenges. Nothing too oppressive yet. But being able to tutor for 1 or 0 mana artifacts in your deck for nothing, you just sack the land, is a really, really cheap cost. A lot of decks are going to abuse this in the future, so it's a very dicey card. How is this thing doing anyway? How is it doing in the stock market? Let's go to MTG stocks. My favorite site to look at graphs, really. Can't say the prices are accurate on this site. But what's going on here? But we get to see graphs. The prices might not be accurate, but we get to see graphs. So it says that it's sitting around 41 bucks. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to buy. It's not easy. Not gonna lie. That's a hard one. I just say, I mean, if you want it cheap, you need to sort of get it now. But you have to know that it's not a safe card. But it's like sort of mandatory in all the decks that it needs to be played in. Basically, any deck that runs artifacts needs to run this card. Tiago, just getting here. Sorry. So all the fetch lands are crashing? Yes. Fetch lands are going down in price. Way lower than I predicted. Not that I like to make very large predictions. I mean, I thought they would go down at least 10%, but they're going way further than that. Way further. I might be talking about the new mill card. Oh, maybe there was something else I'm missing. You can find them on Goldfish. Oh, you mean find the deck list. Mill got 2 in the top 5? Yes, correct. Oh, maybe Goldfish. Was there one on Sunday that it also made top 8? Okay, let's go look. No, we still even Goldfish doesn't have the Sunday challenge. Just this is just the Saturday challenge. This is the challenge that we looked at. Yeah, 2 mill decks. And if there's a lot of amulets, now we see. Let's take a quick look at the metagame. Okay, Jeskai, Demir Mill, Black. Oh, this is not Black Green. This is Yawgmoth. That's the Yawgmoth. It's, you know, Yawgmoth's a real deck here. Not enough people are giving Yawgmoth respect. But you look at this metagame, it's going back to what it was before Modern Horizons. We're seeing a lot more Amulet Titan. Again, we're seeing the Niv to Light come back. We're seeing Blue-Red Blitz. We're seeing the Blitz decks come back. Bant Stoneblade. It's like, okay, we're done playing around with all this crap. Let's get back to the real decks. But it looks like Yawgmoth is really sticking. Another Amulet. Another Amulet! 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 Unbelievable. Amulet all over the damn place. What is the Wooburg? Is it the Living End? Oh, it's these Wooburgs are going to be very difficult to determine what the hell this deck is. And then here's why is this even called Grixis? This is just This is just Izzet. Basically, Izzet Delver minus the Delver. Dragon's Rage Chandler just being a better Delver in this case. Should I sell Amulet Titan or buy Urza Saga? I think you just buy Urza Saga. Maybe let's see what Amulet does with Urza Saga. Maybe Amulet either gets Urza Saga banned or Amulet gets something of theirs banned before they get Urza Saga banned. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Anyway, whoa, so many questions. This is great. Sanzi, do you think that the new Evoke Blink decks will have fringe status like Hammer Time? No, I actually don't. I don't think these Evoke Blink decks are any good. I said it before when Grief came out. I'm going to say it again. If you're going to put Ephemerate in your deck for these like ETB trigger cards, I don't think I think it's just too janky in my opinion. It's just too janky. It's too cute. It's not consistent. The 2-for-1 is real. And if you don't have Ephemerate or if you don't have that Undying card in your hand, and like it may not even work all the time either. Anyway, I think it's too cute. Too cute at all. Completely too cute. Ibra, can I play Magic if I'm you can play you can be anybody and you play Magic. Magic is for absolute everybody. 100%. Christianoid, do you think Tasha's Hideous Laughter is going to be played? What is this? Is this a real card? Oh, it is. Oh, this is the new... Yeah, this was one of the new spoiled cards. How many cards have been spoiled? So Tasha's Hideous Laughter looks like a mill card, right? Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value 20 or more. I mean, I have to see how this plays out. Like, maybe this card is really good, or maybe it doesn't exile as many cards as the other new card, right? What's the new card? The new card being Fractured Sanity. 14 cards. So if it beats 14 cards, it will see play. On average. And it sounds reasonable because like 1/3 of the cards are going to be lands. And then 20 or more. I don't know what the average will be. Let's say the average mana cost of a card is 2.5. So you can get 8, 16. No, you can get 8. I have no idea how this is going to play out. I can't think of it in my brain. And then there's Flump, a 2-mana 0/4. Defender flying. Whenever Flump is dealt damage, you and target opponent each draw a card. I don't know. That sounds like a build around card, in my opinion. Average is less than 14 according to Seth's math, and the other one is probably going to be better. Or maybe they'll play both. Maybe you can go aggro mill. 3 mana, dump 14 cards. Not to be underestimated. Not to be underestimated at all. Jund midrange looks new and fresh. Maybe a comeback? Maybe. The Pierce says the most played deck in the challenge is Amulet, and 1 surgical basically kills them. So it's in a good place? No, correction. Only 1 surgical against... Sorry. Mill has a good matchup against them. And maybe that's why Mill did so well in the first challenge. They probably ate up all the Amulet decks. Because Mill has a good matchup versus Amulet. And yes, like basic... Well, it's not 1 surgical. 2 surgicals will kill them. Because if you beat the Primeval Titan, you still have to beat the Dryad of the Elysian Grove and Valakut. Because that can still kill you. First, Doys. How many fetch lands do you feel are a good amount for a dual color deck that splashes a 3rd color in the side? I don't know, 7, 8? It depends. It really depends, but I think it's like somewhere between 7 and 8 is fine. Or I can like what is the real number? Might be between like 7 and 11. It really depends on how you build your deck. I mean, what for questions like that, what you should do is you should look up 3-color decks and then just look on average how many fetch lands are they playing in addition to the other types of lands that they're running. Will Jondin Rock be well positioned in the meta? Can't say. Can't say. The meta is still moving up and down. I want to say no, because I don't think they have a good Amulet matchup at all. And they still have to deal with big mana. Eldrazi, Tron, Amulet. Where did Tron go? The Tron is just gone for some reason. Oh, they probably have a bad matchup versus Mill, too. They probably have a bad matchup versus Mill. Andrew Sisson. Fetch lands are worth it with Ren and 6, right? Always seem to have worked. Yes, fetch lands are good with Ren and 6. If you're playing Ren and 6 without the fetch lands, you bought a very expensive Planeswalker that doesn't do very much. Von Semu, what do you think about the new version of Affinity, non-scales version? I think it's very strong. I think it's very strong. It's going to be easy to hate out. It's going to be very strong. I'm scared of it. Sly Soft. Isn't Asmarano just 2 for 1ing yourself to remove a creature? Not necessarily, because you can you can pitch lands later on in the game to your Underworld cookbook, and also it can make treasure tokens in other ways. Asmarano also is evolving into the cat oven strategy. They're mixing the cat oven strategy with this, and they're also playing cards that if you discard the card, if an artifact enters the battlefield, you get to return it back to your hand. So they can repeatedly discard this creature. I can't remember the name, and they make a treasure token. Or sorry, they make a food token, and then after they make the food token, the card that went to the graveyard recognized an artifact just entered the battlefield, so you get to put it back in your hand. You can repeat this process over and over. So not necessarily card disadvantage. Jojo, thoughts on green-white Amulet over traditional Amulet, right? Elvish Reclaimer is one hell of a card. Play both. If you can play both. I think they're both strong. I think the traditional Amulet is just outright more powerful. I think it's more consistent. But if you need the toolbox, you need to grab specific lands, go for Elvish Reclaimer. I think that's a fine card too. I think they're both strong. They've both proven to stand the test of time. But I think the classic Amulet version sees more play. Tacos or pizza? I am a pizza guy. I like tacos too, but it's very hard for anyone to beat pizza. Vaughn, how long do you think it takes for the modern meta to stabilize? Usually 2 weeks. So we're already 1 week in. A lot of people are. The thing is, nothing got broken in half immediately. Maybe Amulet now is going to have a target on its back, but for the most part, I mean, it was hardened scales a week ago. Now I didn't see any hardened scales in the top 8. Meta's changing a lot. So right now it's sort of in a very healthy spot. But it looks like it's reverting back to the old meta. It really honestly does. People experimented, and now they're going back to the old trusted and true decks. Daniel asks, do you think Stoneforge Mystic Unban increased deck diversity because it made white playable, or decreased deck diversity because it made all white decks the same? I don't think it made all white decks the same. I think they all have their own flavor to how they want to protect their Stoneforge Mystic. But I do think that the metagame did become more diverse overall because of the banning of Mox Opal. And remember, Stoneforge Mystic got unbanned at the same time that they banned Mox Opal. But if you're just talking about white decks in general, I think Stoneforge Mystic gave it the boost so that there are a variety of white decks in the metagame. Because prior to Stoneforge Mystic, it was really hard to give white decks a really solid, good win condition. Iron Warlock, do you think old decks like Goblin's Bidding could be viable in Modern? Decks? I don't know what Goblin's Bidding is. An archetype? Sorry, I'm not familiar with Goblin's Bidding. Never heard of it, frankly. Jose Sundstrom with the super chat. Thank you very much. No questions today, just European dollars. I am more than happy to take your European dollars. The Bank of Nikachu is always hungry. So thank you very much for the super chat. Art Laley, is Death Shadow dead now? No. Very, 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 very unlikely. That deck is way too damn strong. They might need to know how to adapt it to the new metagame today, but I very sincerely doubt Death Shadow is even remotely gone. It did not get weaker. It's just sleeping. When it wakes up, it's gonna terrorize Modern again. What about the new food deck with Feasting Troll King? Yeah, so they all look like viable decks, but they're so far, I think they're all very cute. They really need to prove themselves in the Modern Challenge, and we have some results for these things. So the thing is, those decks with the Vengevines, the Hollow Ones, or you go the Cat Oven direction, or the Feasting Troll King, it's just really delicate how you build this thing, because you may not have the perfect deck the first time around. You could be off by 8. You could have the right direction, but you could be off by like 6 to 8 cards and then not get the results that you want. So we still need a lot of play testing, but they're all up in the air possible. I don't think any of those builds were outright garbage or anything like that. I think they're all good. But which one is going to be the best version that's going to stand the test of time and also compete with the metagame? We've got to wait and see. But I think it's a good list too. Mareep, what do you suggest for someone new to Modern? I suggest you mean like a deck? I mean, the go-to deck sort of is Burn. Like, you can get in for pretty cheap with that deck, so long as you don't play with Fetchlands. Just look at my budget videos. I've got quite a few of them. I don't know if they're still budget by today's standards, but look up Nikachu MTG budget Modern, and hopefully some of those decks perk your interest. Maybe the best deck to get into Modern, Mono Red Prowess. That's probably the best, cheapest way you can get into Modern. Don't buy the expensive cards. You don't need Seasoned Pyromancer and stuff like that, but there's a lot of really good cards in there, very affordable, and you can just play with mountains as a mana base. Tiago says, Modern Horizons 2 boxes still worth their value. I bought one this weekend and opened 8 Fetchlands. Holy shit. I don't know. I'm sure the prices are going down at this point. Are the Fetchlands really rare? I wonder. Makes me wonder. Because I'm hearing this from a lot of people. I'm getting all these Fetchlands, all these pictures with multiple Fetchlands in them. Or maybe it's just people who are bragging that they got the Fetchlands. Is Healit Company still top deck when all the dust settles? It's still around, but here's a problem for Healit Company. It's got a catastrophically bad matchup versus Hardened Scales Affinity. Because Hardened Scales Affinity, you want infinite life? Who cares? Inkmoth Nexus with Infect and a bunch of counters on it can kill you anyway. And then let's say you try to combo off with infinite damage with Walking Ballista. Well, you got to remove a counter, right? And in that time, that creature can be destroyed with the Hardened Scale Affinity Walking Ballista. So anyway, it's got a nemesis now. It's got a really bad matchup in the metagame. Kid Moto, I kind of disagree. The Evoke cards work fine in an Orzhov Stoneblade Shell with Kaldra as the main plan is just fine. It's fine, but is it good? Like, is it good? I think it's very dirtily. I think it's very, very dirtily, these Evoke plans. If you do not have Ephemerate, I think you're just 2-for-1ing yourself. Badly. Ben Labovitz, what's the matchup like for Affinity versus Merfolk? It's good for Affinity. They're fast. They're uninteractive. They're evasive. Their mana costs of their cards are just way cheaper than Merfolk. It's not good. It's not good. Not happy to see Affinity back. Maybe Grief is good in something like Esper Soul Herder. Yes, but is Soul Herder good? The problem is Soul Herder itself is just a dirtily deck. That's why Soul Herder is just not winning. I mean, that is a deck that like won one Modern Challenge, maybe had another top 8, and then did nothing after that because it's just a dirtily deck. Yeah, it can get a lot of value, but that value is useless if your opponent killed you before you got all that value. So too dirtily and just way too dirtily. So you could say Grief is better in there, but it's dirtily. Like, Modern is powerful. Look, Primeval Titan's out on turn 3. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're too late for this stuff. It's too late. It's like, that's the point I'm trying to get across. You gotta be more proactive in Modern. You gotta be very interactive. And I don't know if the Evoke creatures are interactive enough for the cost of losing a card. What's the prediction? Urza Saga ban, is it too good? I'm pretty sure it's too good. I don't think it's going to get banned anytime immediately soon. You have to wait for a deck to actually really break this card, especially if it's a combo deck. Maybe Titan is going to be that deck. Titan has gotten so many cards banned at this point. What's another one? Favorite Ravnica guild based on aesthetic? Based on aesthetic? Here's the problem. I really didn't like any of the guilds. I hate the guilds. And for the most part, well, I don't know. Maybe I like Prismari, but you know, I know that's not a Ravnica guild, but that's my answer. I actually hated all the guilds. When people would ask me, what's your guild? Mono blue. Now beat it. Get out of here. Actually, I like the Strixhaven guilds a lot more. I'm a huge fan of the Strixhaven guilds. I could feel their I don't know what it is. I can understand their identity better than the Ravnica guilds. I guess I should say the Strixhaven schools, the factions. Iron Warlock, if you cast Shardless Agent to play Living End, will you need to sack it before you return cards from your graveyard? Nope. So what happens is you cast Shardless Agent, it's on the stack. While it's on the stack, Cascade triggers. But Shardless Agent has a resolve, so Cascade triggers. Then you get your Living End. Living End gets cast first. Or sorry, it resolves first. It goes on the stack above Shardless Agent. So Living End resolves. Your opponent's board gets wiped. You get your board back from the graveyard. Shardless Agent's still on the stack. And then Shardless Agent resolves and you have a 2/2 creature. Great question. Do you think a Gruul Ponza deck with Reclaimer and Titiana might have legs? Not with Reclaimer. I don't know what the point of Reclaimer is in that deck because they don't need to toolbox for lands, but Titiana could be a win condition in that deck, sure. Any thoughts on Domain Zoo? They're decks. They are decks. Grixis Shadow is everywhere. Rakdos Shadow has completely disappeared. Well, Rakdos Shadow disappeared because it couldn't beat Auriok Champion. Maybe there's going to be less Auriok Champions in the metagame right now and it can come back. So what Rakdos had to do is they evolved into Jund Shadow because both Hexdrinker and Tarmogoyf could attack through the Auriok Champion. Jamie asks, Goblin's Bidding is one of the 2003 World Championship decks played by Wolfgang Eater. Well, I'm not familiar with the deck. Sorry about that. Pierce, for people curious about Death Shadow, it's super hard for a deck trying to be super efficient to plan for an unknown metagame, so it'll come back as things settle. But then again, Death Shadow is one of the more proactive decks. Like, it doesn't need to adapt. The Death Shadow is the type of deck where everyone needs to adapt to it. You know, lose a bunch of life, put a giant creature on the battlefield, attack, Temur, Battle Rage. So it is a bit weird that we don't see any. And like, it plays Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize. So no matter what it's up against, those cards are always relevant. Cameron asked, do you ever think Magic would introduce cards that you can only run one copy of, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon already have rules like this for balancing? I would be open to these rules. I think this is really cool. What do you guys think? Can we have one-ofs? Can we have special one-ofs in like Magic? Like, that's perhaps how Legendary should work, right? You should only have one copy of a legendary creature. The whole thing is like a long time ago, and especially for Standard, the card pool is small enough, like if there's a legendary card, you should have more than one of them. Like, that would completely solve the problem of Oko and Uro. And you know what? Maybe that wouldn't work so well in Standard because, you know, Wizards wants you to play with 4 Okos. They want you to play with 4 Uros. They want you to play with as many Uros as possible. If it's legendary, fuck it. Play more of them. Play 8 of them. They might increase the number of cards. But outside of it, I think it would be good that we are restricted to one-ofs of certain cards. I'm totally fine. That was how Legendary worked, so that's how it worked a long time ago. One copy of a Legendary, but 4 Primetime is fine. Well, then all they have to do is errata Primetime to be Legendary, right? All they have to do is errata. So I'm fine with restricting cards instead of banning them. I'm totally fine with that, and I think Wizards should experiment more with stuff like that. And I'm for, like, you know, certain cards, whether they be legendary or a certain card type, you can only have one of. And that would significantly reduce the need to ban a lot of cards because you just don't see them as frequently. Restricting cards, it's hard to say what works in Vintage. Like anything goes in, like Vintage is a shithole of a format in my opinion. I mean, it's basically, you know, this is my grandpa's format where, you know, you just do the most degenerate stuff and everyone is just enjoys being as degen as possible. James is like, I don't agree with this at all. No one wants. I think we could open the possibility of either having like cards. Certain cards can be only a one of in your deck, or you're being able to restrict cards. And Nikachu, do you have a deck list for Merfolk right now? Look up my lists. Look up my videos on Nikachu MTG streams. Or you could look up ! deck on my Twitch channel. You could do that. That would work as well. Don't we already have that with Companion? Well, no, because you can't... you can actually have as many Lurises as you want in your deck if you were to play it. Nikachu, Hideous Laughter destroys Burn, Prowess, Blitz, and Luris decks. Remember, lands don't have mana value, so you could mill more than 20 cards. I'm not sure if that's true. Like, even Prowess, like Stormwing Entity costs 3. Stormwing Entity costs 5, even though it's cast for 2. Also, like, Bone Crusher Giant costs 3 instead of costing 2. Like, maybe it will destroy them, but also those decks are pretty like one-dimensional themselves. Like, they could also destroy you in 4 turns. So if they win the die roll, you could probably still lose, in my opinion. Hideous Laughter versus Cheerios. That's funny. That might win. That might win in one shot. Nil, would you play a fetch if you only have basics in your deck? Yeah, only basics? No, I would not. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, you could. That does. I mean, if you're a multicolored deck, then yes, you could do that. However, if you're a monocolored deck, this seems very silly. It opens up a whole new era of saltiness. Well, of course I lost. He drew all his legendary cards and I flooded. He was probably hacking. I was a way better player. Well, people are always going to be salty. Always happens. People will find a way to be salty. They love to find ways of being salty. Salty is a way of life. Maelstrom says, I played Mono Red Prowess yesterday and beat Laughter easily. There you go. Laughter, maybe slightly overrated. Do you know the professor mentioned you in his recent Modern video? I did not. I'll go check him out. You must be watching Professor. You know what? Every so often, he'll mention something in a Modern video that I feel like had to have been taken from one of my videos. Not that anything is stolen or anything, but, you know, he's doing his research, and I feel like one day I'm going to stare in the camera right in his eye. Now listen, Professor, when you make your video, you have to mention this interaction here or something like that, you know? I love the mind games. I like thinking on the X level +1, where X is the level everyone else is thinking on. Matthew Sick Mayor with the super chat with Mill on top and a nerfed Faithless Looting. Is it time for Phoenix to shine? I doubt it. I just doubt it. There is the nerf Faithless Looting still might not be good enough. Maybe they can try. But I don't know what power Phoenix has in the metagame right now that is particularly special over the over what we have right now in the metagame. And doesn't Mill, like, I think Mill hurts Faithless, like, Phoenix, right? Because, okay, they're going to mill your Phoenixes, and then they surgical extract the Phoenix, and then you have no more Phoenixes, and then you have no chance of winning. Like, that's how this deck wins against the combo decks. They mill your Primeval Titan, then they surgical the Primeval Titan, and then you're like, okay, now what do? I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I need an adult. I need an adult. I love the Professor. Professor is one of the few people still helping us promote Merfolk. We're a dying breed here. We're sticking it out, thick or thin, no matter what. Screw it. Merfolk to death. Etch in a Lord of Atlantis on my gravestone. Actually, I'm not really the biggest fan of Lord of Atlantis. You can put a Master of Waves on my gravestone. Okay, people. You know what time it is, people? Because it's that time every day. It's time for Decklist review, people. Decklist review. We got tons of all the super chats. I'm a simp for you, Merfolk Father. Thank you very much. A simp for Merfolk as well. Thank you very much. 7,912 SGD. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right, so if you're new here, this is how it works. You want to submit a deck list? Go into my description. In my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. Then go to the channel Decklist Review and enter the command ! Review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and boom, you'll be eligible at random to be chosen for Decklist review. Remember, it's random, people. So don't worry about the queue thing. That's a bunch of nonsense. It's ridiculous. It's not real. What's my opinion on the reserve list? Doesn't matter if it's there, and it doesn't matter if it's gone. Okay, so but as many big YouTube channels, big YouTube stars, streamers, and stuff like that, they usually have sponsors. Otherwise, they'd starve to death. Fusion Gaming Online. Also, you guys are sponsors practically. Monster CC with the super chat. Merfolk Ride or Die. Exactly. RNGQ. I choose you. Go. Exactly. True story. All right, what is the deal this week? Oh, we're still on the 15% off Zendikar Rising singles and sealed product. If you need to get your Agadeem's Awakening, any of those special lands from Zendikar Rising, this is a good time. Skyglaive Apparition, actually. Very good Zendikar Rising staple. You need to get those. You can get 15% off at fusiongamingonline.com. Don't forget, 15% off isn't good enough for you. For some reason, you're too broke. It's okay. You can get yourself 5% off. Get that into your price range. Or no matter who you are, you want 5% off. Who doesn't want free value? Free value, people. Also supports the channel. Lets them know I sent you. Okay, Sword and Shield Chilling Rain. I have no idea what that is. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Everyone playing all sorts of decks in this Modern Horizons 2 metagame. Thanks to Mana Traders. Being able to play basically any of the new archetypes. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Oh, it's my favorite tune of all this. I love the Sun and Moon apparel shot. I should just make this my theme song. Puts me in a good mood. Is it worse that the professor uses your material or you use the Wii Shop music? There's nothing wrong with taking material. You're doing research. You take ideas. Look, there's a lot of videos where I do research from other YouTubers that already did homework, so I don't have to do as much work. I mean, if you want to make a good YouTube video, it is very good to pick the minds of other people who have already talked on the topic, because they might say something you forgot about, you didn't mention. So it's never called... And by the way, I have nothing against just completely stealing or ripping off music. Screw Nintendo. I love you, Nintendo. I'm in love with you, Nintendo, but I'm going to take your music. It's good music. Okay, let's go. The queue's belly is full. 44 people vying for that spot, and millions! They're called Millions. Congratulations, Millions. You are the next contestant on Decklist Review. Okay, what do we got here? Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. Research does not equal plagiarism. And Professor generally does his own research and has his own opinions. Okay, we've got, what do we got here? Mardu Reanimator. All right, sounds exciting. Insulin Neonate. Stitcher's Supplier. You know, when I look at Stitcher's Supplier, I'm thinking we got to have more Stitcher's Supplier. That's all that's important. Priest of Fell Rights. Merchant of the Veil. Grave Titan. Whoa! That is I think Grave Titan is very underrepresented, in my opinion. It is, like, when you look at Grave Titan, it's basically Primeval Titan plus Field of the Dead all in one. Like, that's all that Field of the Dead did, is it turned Primeval Titan into a Grave Titan, into a delicious, amazing Grave Titan. I am surprised. Grave Titan does not see more play. Sire of Insanity, Archon of Cruelty. Apparently, you know what? And this thing is an Uro. You know, I didn't realize it until people pointed out. This is just Uro. When it enters the battlefield or attacks target opponent, but also the target opponent has to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Oh no, it's Uro and Croxa in one. And an Edict effect. Target opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, loses 3 life. You draw a card and gain 3 life. This is ridiculous. Yeah, this is a pretty good reanimator target. Okay, Ashen Rider, ETB, exile target permanent, Platinum Empyrean, Terastodon. So my first thought... Okay, what else do you have? You have Bone Shards. You should have more of these. 4 of these. This is a good one. Collective Brutality. I think Bone Shards is better. Persist is good. Ransack the Lab. The top 3 cards, put one of them in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. That's fine. Arnmark Grave is fine. Matt, what? Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card onto the battlefield. The rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you have only 1 artifact. I think this is janky. But I guess it gets around graveyard hate. You know, I would prefer this was a sideboard plan, but if you have the room, I guess you can make this work. Will they ditch companion cards? Probably not. Probably not. Okay, what can we say about this deck? 20 lands? That's very few lands. You draw a card here. Instant Inundate's a draw. I guess 20 lands is fine. 20 lands will get you to 2 mana. Okay, Bone Shards, Inquisition of Kozilek, Lightning Hacks, Nihil Spellbomb, Rip Apart, Vindicate. 4 Madcaps when your only artifact is Platinum. This is well that's the point. You find Platinum Empyrean, it says your life total can't change. So you ideally just win from there. What's my opinion on Rich? I don't want to answer too many questions during Decklist review, but Richard Dockhand, I thought on paper it was great. Then I played with it and I thought it sucked. Then I played with it more and I thought, you know what, this is pretty good, but it's actually just not well positioned. But I'll probably go back to this card in the future. Madcap should 100% be in the sideboard as game 2 plan. Needs more lands for sure, as you can't afford to miss land drops. Okay, then how about this? Like, I do like this Madcap experiment plan because, you know, game 1, you represent yourself as a graveyard deck. Game 2, you still can, but then you get, bam, Madcap experiment. Oh, nice rest in peace and Tormod's Crypt and all that other crap. That's all useless. Madcap experiment, blow you out. So I really like this idea of a Madcap experiment. This Madcap experiment plan. But that you might show it to them in game 1, but I don't know. Maybe it's not too bad in the main deck. Maybe it's not that bad, but I will say at 4, you need to side in more lands. You're not going to curve into 4 lands for Madcap experiment like at all. At all. Are there any like spell lands that we can play? James says, I like this deck, but Bone Shard is an easy 4 of. Okay, let's change some stuff. Maybe let's remove Madcap Experiment, add the 3 Bone Shards. Instead of the Bone Shards in the sideboard, we move the Madcap Experiment here. You probably should also have Inquisition of Kozilek in the main deck. All the fetch lines dropping in price? Yes, that is correct. They're all going down. Wait, chat, how do you submit a deck? Go into my description. In my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join the Discord, go to Decklist, review the channel, and then use the command as you see here. Malakir Rebirth? Choose target creature, you lose 2 life until end of turn. That creature gains. When this creature dies, returns to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. I don't know if this is... maybe this is okay. But it seems like a win more card. Because it's like only good after the creature enters the... hits the battlefield. How big of a factor is deck thing in Modern? It's nothing, actually. It's very irrelevant. It's not worth... Deck thinning costs too much life. Too many questions here. Okay, so... Platinum Empyrean. Okay, I want to put the Platinum Empyrean package in the sideboard. I want to put some of this other stuff in the main deck. And we also have to add some lands. So let's go to 22 so that you have a chance at casting Madcap Experiment. Otherwise, this is just going to be clunky in your hand. You're not going to reach the 4 lands on curve that you want. Like, Neonate does draw a card. Is there anything else that draws cards and puts stuff in the graveyard? Maybe that's what this deck needs. It needs more cards. Okay, so what are some looting effects that we can put in here? Merchant of the Veil draws. I guess so. Okay, how about this? Maybe we just shouldn't have to change too much. Maybe we just add more Merchant of the Veils. I could get behind that. I think Haggle is fine. So we have Insolent Neonate. We have 4. Let's get 4 Merchant of the Veils in here. I don't know how many of these win conditions we can take out. So maybe we have to take out a Stitcher Supplier. Well, how many of these win conditions do we really need? Do we really need all these things? Seriously? Season Pyromancer. Well, the problem with Season Pyromancer is it costs 3 mana, and I don't think we have the lands to cast the damn thing. Cycling cards would help this build, but I think like Street Wraith. Well, it's not a very good reanimator target. Okay, so okay, I could be wrong, but I want to take out some of these cards. Like, first off, Sire of Insanity, I think is just something here has to be win more, and it's probably like Terastodon and Sire of Insanity. And I would add like Merchant of the Veil, and you just have to depend on like. The problem is it makes Collective Brutality worse if we take out the creatures. There's enough creatures in here that you get like some value out of bone shards and stuff like that. I like both artworks for Svelun. Bobo says 5 to 6. How many do we have here then? 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many reanimator targets should we have? Sire of Insanity seems a bit much. Okay, I'm okay. We're gonna dump Sire, and we're gonna dump. We don't need Terastodon and Ashen Rider, so pick one. So take one of these out. One exiles a permanent, one destroys up to 3 permanents. So pick one, remove the other one. So because we need more Merchant of the Veil so that you have the mana, so that you have Madcap Experiments when you bring it in, or if you keep it in the main deck. And then I guess we put Bone Shards in the main. I mean, alternatively, you could keep the Madcap Experiment in the main deck. Or we take out Platinum Empyrean, or you keep all the other ones. You take out Platinum Empyrean, you put it in the sideboard with the Madcap. That makes sense, actually, with the Madcap Experiment combo, if we're going to move in that direction. And then you add 2 more Merchant of the Veils, because you need to be able to dig into your land drops. Where are there 2 Grave Titans? Is the whole point to tutor it? I guess so that you just have... Well, there's a lot of cards here where you're just going to naturally have it in your hand. They want to take advantage of Bone Shards and Collective Brutality, and I think there should be more Bone Shards in the main deck. This card ended up being incredibly strong. This is already like basically a staple to Modern. It's really frustrating, too, because it enables decks, and it just outright destroys creatures and Planeswalkers. This is incredible for a common. This should have been an uncommon or something. I don't think the deck is based around Unburial Rites. It's still more based around Persist. How else do we get... Actually, hold on. No, we can't. We only... How many ways do we have to reanimate stuff? Oh, no, we have Priest of Fell Rites. So what, we have 8 ways of reanimating stuff? That doesn't seem like a lot, to be honest. I'm wondering if we just keep the Madcap Experiment combo, and we just add the 2 Merchant of the Veils, take out, I don't know, Collective Brutality. I think you can take out Brutality for Bone Shards. I guess that's reasonable. Put the Brutalities in the sideboard, because that's when your opponent's going to bring in the hate cards. You have the Bone Shards in the main deck. I like that. Okay, so how about we make, without making super gross changes, let's put Collective Brutality in the sideboard, Bone Shards in the main deck, and I want to take out... Let's take out a Sire of Insanity and a Terastodon for 2 more Merchant of the Veils. And then I'm not even going to change the deck. We'll have Madcap Experiment in the main deck. So you have 12 ways of comboing off. You can Madcap Experiment. You could combo off with Priest of Fell Rites, and you can combo off with Persist. So not too many big changes. I'd prefer the Madcap Experiment combo in the sideboard, so that's a huge surprise when your opponent is bringing all this graveyard hate. But this will be, I think this is like the cleanest way to like improve this deck and make it a little bit more consistent and more efficient. Because Bone Shards will, I think, be way better in the main than Collective Brutality will be. Yeah, fetch prices have crashed. All right, thanks for submitting the deck. Let's move on. I think the deck was playing with the new Entomb. It was playing Unmarked Grave. All right, Dane Wheat King. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Decklist Review. Ugh. Some problems with Moxfield. Hold on. Oh shoot! This list is not showing up. Does anyone else see this? I'm not seeing it. I'm getting the stupid 404. It happens every so often. It's supposed to be a Jeskai Stoneblade deck. Is it public? I don't think it's public. Yeah, it's always, yeah, Moxfield always does this. Where's my, how do I clear the cookies? How do I clear the cookies? Someone tell me how to make, how to clear cookies. It might be the cookies. There's bad cookies with this one. I don't want to give up on this guy. What about Goryo's? Goryo's only works on legendary cards. And that deck was using all non-legendaries. Is Mill budget friendly? It's okay. Does anyone know how to clear cookies? Otherwise, I have to unfortunately skip this person. I never remember how to clear my cookies. History. Oh, clear. Is it clear? I don't want to clear the history. But I do want to clear the cookies. Okay, I think I have to skip this one. Make sure that it's public. Can I see anything on Moxfield? I can see stuff on Moxfield, so it's actually okay. Actually, I can see stuff on Moxfield, so there's something wrong with the link. It's probably private. Click on the 3 dots. Where's the 3 dots? This? Control F5. Okay, hold on. Now let's look up this list. Oh, okay. This link doesn't work. Damn it. Sorry about that. Zalo, you submitted my Discord link. Hope you don't get chosen. Okay, I'm picking a new person. CJSTEK. Congratulations. You are the next contestant for Decklist review. But Zalo, resubmit your deck list because you didn't submit your deck list. You submitted the link to my Discord. It looks funny. I'm not in Chrome right now. This is what's it called? Oops, where am I going? This is Firefox. Okay, so what are we doing here? Controlling the food. Legal and modern. All right, we've got a new food deck with Witch's Oven, Creeping Tar Pit, Misty Rainforest, Rimefoot Falls, and Battlefield Tapped. I'm not a fan of all these cards coming into Battlefield Tapped. You have an Urborg, Urza Saga. Would let you a lot of stuff coming into play tapped. Asmarano, Cauldron Familiar. Why the tap lands? Why all these lands that come into battlefield tapped? I don't think you can play with these. I don't think you can play with these lands that come to the battlefield tapped, and the Creeping Tar Pit sucks too for a deck like this because you really want to be mana efficient. I'm not a fan of this mana base for a deck that's trying to play like 1-drops and Cauldron Familiar and Asmarano on potentially turn 1 and Unearth. Like, to some extent, you want to be pretty mana efficient with this deck. Tap lands suck, that's right. Unless this is specifically a budget deck, is there some description? There is not. Trail of Crumbs. This card is pretty good. Trail of Crumbs is good. Why are we playing with just 3 Witch's Oven? I think we should go to 4. We should have 4 Asmaranos, 4 Cauldron Familiars. Ice Fang seems unnecessary. Tide Shaper looks incredibly unnecessary, but I guess you have it in the deck to beat other people's like Urza Saga. What the hell? There's a Tarmogoyf in here? Okay, so there's... Oh, so you really want to get Dead of Winter online. All non-snow creatures get minus... All non-snow creatures gets minus X until X is the number of snow permanents you control. But you kill off your own creatures. You kill off your Vengevine, your Tarmogoyf, your Tide Shaper. I don't think this is good synergy. I think you should probably just not play with the Dead of Winter. This deck is trying to do too many things at once. Okay, you have to be all in on something. You have like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We gotta wipe some stuff away. Now let's say you really want to play with the blue you're gonna play Mana Leak in this deck as well. I think this is a bit much. Instead of Fatal Push, you can probably play with the card, sack a creature or discard a card from your hand and kill target creature. I mean, I guess you can play with Fatal Push if you really want to. That's not a problem. You can combo Dead of Winter with Cat Oven? Can you? Sacrifice a food, return Cauldron Familiar from your graveyard to the battlefield. Is that it? Well, the reason for the snow is Dead of Winter. Also, non-snow creatures get minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control. Get the scissors. We got some trimming to do. I thought you meant at first I thought you meant we gotta play what's it called? There is a scissors card, and we could put it on the Underworld Cookbook or Witch's Oven. That would be the icing on the cake. And it sort of looks... Okay, I'll give you some real advice. I think we should scrap Dead of Winter, unless there's... Yeah, Ensoul Artifact. If you like going jank, and you want to go even further in that direction, I suggest playing Ensoul Artifact in your deck. This is a very trolly answer. I get a sense that your deck might like this, though. So here's the deal. You can pay a blue and 1 generic. Enchant Artifact. Enchanted Artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 5/5 in addition to its other types. How big is that? And you can enchant your Underworld Cookbook and your Witch's Oven. And then go to town. Go to town. Anyway, that's sort of a trolly answer. Real answer, scrap the Dead of Winter. I don't see Thought Scour is not bad in this deck because you can mill yourself and get your Vengevine. You don't even have many Vengevines in this deck. Okay, scrap the blue. Just get rid of the blue. Get rid of Thought Scour, Mana Leak, Tide Shaper, and then round out. So how many cards? This is 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you have 8 cards, so use them on all the other cards. 1, just round it, get 4 of these cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can put 6, 7 on Tarmogoyf. Sure, play with Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf, I'm convinced you can put Tarmogoyf in almost any deck. And then, I don't know, play a few more Trail of Crumbs. And boom, you got a deck. And it's not that bad. Why on earth? I don't know. I really don't know. Bring your Asmarano back, I guess. You can technically get the Asmarano back. But maybe Unearth should be something else. And I would suggest making a more leaner mana base, because all these cards that are coming into play tapped is going to make your whole entire deck clunky. Just Clunk City. That's all. If we're going down the road of Ensoul, then the new tap lands and our artifacts and indestructible. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we should replace some of these dual lands with the new artifact lands that are indestructible. You hear what I'm saying? And they come into and they're dual lands. So that's one way of taking the direction if you go in the super jank direction. And I don't even know what you take out for those things. I guess take out a Feasting Troll King and a 1 Cauldron Familiar so you can play your Ensoul artifact in your food deck. That would be funny. So I gave you 2 directions for this deck. You can go super meme, or you can go a little bit more real. Because this deck is just like doing a little too much. It's trying too hard, in too many directions. You're playing with like 2 ofs with a lot of these cards because you're not sure about what you want to do, and as a result, everything is going to be pretty inconsistent. But I hope that was some good feedback, and good luck with the deck list. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining me today. It was a great, wonderful. We started the week off really well. If you want to see the replay, this is it for Coffee and MTG. If you want to check out the replay, you can always check out my alternate YouTube channel, Nikachu MTG Streams. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck list, hey, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you want to support the channel and you are not supporting it already, you can drop a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can become a patron at patreon.com, or you can join on YouTube. There is a join button. You'll conveniently right there next to the subscribe button, but they do 2 different things. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Without all of you making me a part of your daily routine, this show would not be the show that it is. And has grown. We got up to 600 people today. I mean, this Coffee and MTG is probably the single largest live talk show there is for Magic. It probably was by default when I had 60 viewers, but we're at 600. I 10x'd my viewership in 1 year. That's awesome stuff. Maybe next year we'll have, what's 10x again? 6,000. We're going to aim for 6,000 next year. So keep brewing up those coffees and we'll keep brewing up Magic. See you guys next time.